Hello everyone, I'm back with another video about keyboards. This is a new keyboard that I've got. It's the Akko Monsgeek M1 V5 Mineral. So let's start with the basic facts. The keyboard is aluminium, fully aluminium. It's one of the heaviest keyboard I've ever seen or ever felt. It's around 1.5 kilos, but it feels like 3 at least. The keycaps are the classic PBT double shot. However, their design is very aesthetically pleasing. I picked the waist sorting variant. There's also a one color variant, so if you don't like cool looking designs and want to go minimalistic, you can get the black design. Something about these keycaps that aren't on the usual plastic ones, they're very matte even to the feel. Everything sticks to them. However, another thing the keyboard has is a knob, which is one of the most premium features this keyboard has to offer. The worst part is my knob doesn't actually work unless I angle it. Right now when I spin it normally, it barely picks up friction, it doesn't work at all. I have to angle it to the bottom and now it works. I still haven't figured out why it isn't working, but I'm pretty sad about that part. Alright, let's start reviewing the keyboard from the inside. First of all, the keyboard is gasket mounted. It's a very slight gasket mount, not as much as on the Dark project, which I made a video on. However, there's still some response when I try to push down. Now, the main feature of the M1 V5 is rapid disassembly. When I do this, check it out. I can just take the whole frame off. It's mounted with magnets, which you can see right here. They go into these slots, and that basically assembles the keyboard. And now that I've put the cover off, we can see all the keycaps and the side profile from here. We can see the slight gasket mount. It's a cheap version of a gasket mount, but it still works. Over here, we see it bend. The USB-C port is in the middle, which is a detail that I love, because most of the keyboards have them either on the right or left, which can hinder some setups, and when it's in the middle, it's balanced. It doesn't have any advanced stands, but the profile itself is suiting, so I wouldn't really care about the stands. The switches inside here are the Akko Botany switches. They're incredibly poppy. They're like the Akko pianos, but louder. They're like the poppy folky equivalent of Gateron All Kings. I'm using Gateron All Kings for comparisons in a lot of videos, which I shouldn't. You can hear the switch sound itself without actually typing is heavenly. This is one of the best pre-loop switches I've ever heard, so that's a huge plus for Akko. And we can also fairly easily access the bottom of the keyboard. When we take this off, we can see the entire bottom of the keyboard. So, what is the casing made out of? It's made out of plastic to separate the batteries and the keyboard itself, which adds a bit of noise cancelling, which is great. Then it has a gel-like layer on the foam, which doubles as sound protection with the foam on top. It isn't such a thick layer, but there's a 2-layered foam. If you can see it, right here there's a PCB board, and on top of it is another foam. So they did a very good job with the noise cancelling. Now I just pop it back in place, check if any of the parts are extruding. If they aren't, then I'm good to go. And here's the knob. I really hate that my knob doesn't work, because it's supposed to click when you put it in, but mine doesn't. Mine just moves freely around. So if you use the knob a lot, I don't recommend this keyboard a lot for the knob because it broke easily. Maybe that's how I mistreated the keyboard, but I've been using it for like 1 week and it broke right away. So, and now how to reassemble the keyboard. You have to keep the knob off, take the metal plating, align it and just click it in place. Try to hold the keyboard from the inside and push it that way, so you're sure that every single inch is covered. And now reattach the knob and you have your keyboard assembled. A nice design they made is they put this rubber part on the USB-C port. It just makes the keyboard look cleaner when you put it on right here. Now time to plug it in. It also comes with this premium cable, which I hate because it cannot stretch out when you have a normal keyboard. So it has all the RGB settings that all Akko keyboards have. You essentially hold down FN and click delete to swap modes. It doesn't have shine through keycaps, but I've memorized the keycap layouts, so I don't really see a difference there. Let me cycle quickly through all the mods. By how this keyboard isn't an RGB focused keyboard at all, the RGB is probably even stronger than in my U01. It's an incredibly strong RGB. One thing that I forgot to show you is right over here in the caps button. There's a little switch over here which you can use to switch between Bluetooth and wireless and Wi-Fi modes. 2.4 GHz one is there as well. You have to check the manual, but since I'm using wired, I haven't touched it at all. You can also customize the RGB by pressing down FN and these arrow keys. The right and left arrow keys are to switch colors between modes. So right here you have the brightness. You can adjust the brightness if you want it bright or dim. I like to keep it all the way cranked up. Now the best part of the keyboard is its sound. This keyboard sounds so incredibly good. It's like the U01, but without the added plastic ambience. The metal casing and the incredibly well-made foam noise cancelling makes it almost heavenly to type on. Alright, I'll be quiet and you listen to this sound test. And that's it for the sound test. Overall, this keyboard is probably my favorite out of all the keyboards I own. It's mostly because of the aluminum case, which makes the sound incredibly heavenly. And the most important thing in keyboards for me is the sounds and the looks. That's why I have the U01, which is an RGB brick, and I have this one with the pretty keycaps. I chose the waist sorting layout, so I can have these colorful keycaps and not a single color keycap, but that's entirely up to preference, and I would honestly give this keyboard a 9.7 out of 10. The only missing part, the 0.3, is the knob, but since I don't use the knob as much and I can just easily take it apart and do this, it doesn't really change my performance in games at all. I would definitely recommend this keyboard to everyone on sale, mainly because Monsgeek hosts regular annual sales on New Year's or Christmas, so I would definitely pick this keyboard up. And no, I'm not sponsored, this is my own opinion.